Hey, Miss Tatum's first grade class. We're on Freddie Fernordner, chapter 13, and this is the last one. Everything happened so fast that no one even had a chance to scream or cry out. One moment, Freddie, Chipper, Darla, and Mr. Chewy were seated on the floor, and the next, the entire box fort had collapsed on top of them. Water poured in, cold, wet cardboard pushed the three first graders to the ground. Mr. Chewy let out a loud meow, and everything was dark. Dark and wet. "Darla! Chipper!" Freddie cried, but his words were muffled, and he sounded like he was far away. "I'm right here," Chipper shouted, but his voice, too, sounded a long way off. "I'm soaked," Darla said from somewhere. "I'm soaked and I can't move." Mr. Chewy meowed even louder. "Mr. Chewy," Freddie called. "It's going to be all right, buddy. You're going to be okay." Rain continued to pour. The wind kept blowing. "Try and push some of the boxes away," Freddie said loudly. "If we can push them off, we can get out." Thunder cracked in the sky above. The wind bent the trees. And the three first graders were very, very scared. After some struggling, Freddie was able to push some of the cardboard away from him. It was hard because the cardboard had soaked up the rain, making it heavy and soggy. Suddenly, Mr. Chewy appeared from beneath one of the soggy pieces of cardboard. "Mr. Chewy!" Freddie shouted. "Boy, am I glad to see you!" Mr. Chewy shook and water went everywhere. Then he took off running toward Freddie's house. He scrambled to his feet. Rain continued to pour down, and Freddie started peeling cardboard away from the pile in a frantic search for Chipper and Darla. "Chipper! Darla!" he shouted above the wind and rain. "Where are you?" "I'm right here," Darla shouted back, but it was hard to know exactly where she was. He reached down to grab a small hunk of cardboard and pulled. "Ow!" Chipper shrieked. "That's my ear!" "Chipper!" Freddie shouted, and he pulled the part of the box away. Chipper scrambled up. He was muddy but unhurt. "Darla!" Freddie called out. "I'm right here, Freddie," Darla called back. It sounded like she was very close to them, but she was buried beneath wet, heavy cardboard. "Just start pulling the cardboard up," Freddie said to Chipper. "She's there somewhere." Lightning flashed in the sky above, and thunder rumbled as the two first graders worked to find their friend. Suddenly, Darla's arm appeared. Freddie grasped her hand and pulled, and Darla finally struggled to her feet. "What a bummer," Chipper said as he looked around. Their fort, which once had been 3 stories tall, was in ruins in the yard. "Come on," Freddie said. "Let's go into my garage and get out of this rain." The 3 first graders ran across the yard, through puddles that had formed in the grass. Freddie opened the back door of the garage and they went inside, where his mother stood. "Freddie Fernordner," she exclaimed, "I thought you had enough common sense to come in out of that rain." "We got trapped in our fort, Mrs. Fernordner," Chipper explained. "The whole thing caved in on us." "It was very scary," Darla said. "Freddie saved my life, I think." "Well, you stay here and I'll bring some towels," Mrs. Fernordner said. "When it stops thundering and lightning, Chipper and Darla can go home and get some dry clothes." And so, that was the end of the big box fort. Freddie, Chipper, and Darla spent the next day cleaning up all the cardboard. They put it in a big pile near the curb so it would be picked up when the garbage truck came by. "Well," Darla said as the 3 looked at the big pile of soggy cardboard, "what next?" "Yeah," Chipper said. "We've done some pretty cool things, like flying the bike," Freddie said, "and hunting for super scary night thingies," Darla offered. "Don't forget about the haunted house," Chipper said. "That was fun. And so was our dog walking service," Darla said. "What are we going to do now?" None of them had any ideas yet, until Freddie looked up into a tree and saw something. At first, he didn't know what it was. Then, when he realized what he was looking at, he gasped. Then he pointed. "Look!" he shouted in excitement. "Look what's in the tree!" Chipper looked up. Darla looked too. "Oh my," she said. In the tree was a beautiful, colorful kite. It had a long tail made of rags that were tied together. The tail was wrapped around the branch. Someone lost it during the storm, Freddie said. Let's get it down. But Freddie, Darla said, it's caught in the tree. How are we going to get it? Oh, we'll find a way, Freddie said with a smile. Chipper covered his face with his hands. I was afraid you were going to say that, he said. Hey, it's only a kite, Freddie said. What could possibly go wrong? I don't know, Darla said, shaking her head, but I bet we're about to find out. Darla was right. The 3 first graders and Mr. Chewy, too, were about to have one of their scariest adventures they've ever had. They just didn't know it yet. The end. We're done with book 5, The Big Box Fort. Bye, guys. Miss you.